Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock the city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here around.
Hey, this is Paul Martin
And Ray the Roadie.
for the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. How's it going, Ray?
Ooh, baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah, it's the middle of winter.
It is. I don't like this.
That happens.
Yes, it does. We need something to warm us up a little bit.
Yeah, what do you got in mind?
Well, I was thinking Johnny Russler and the Beach Bum Band.
Oh, sure, some beach music. There you go.
I think that would warm everybody up.
Yeah.
I definitely can use some warming up since I'm not in Florida yet.
Yeah, well, you get there one of these days.
One of these days. So, let's check out Johnny Russler and see what he has to say about his band.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, everybody, we're here at the Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66 in beautiful downtown Joliet. Joining us today is Johnny Russler of the Beach Bum Band. How you doing, Johnny?
Awesome. It's good, man. This place, I cannot wait for this place to open.
It's going to be nice when it opens.
Oh, my God. You know what? And I love that there's kind of I know they've been trying to revive downtown Joliet for a long time, but like from just recording the new album up at Third City Sound right over there above Chicago Street, you know. So if you come down for all you podcasts, come to Joliet and you know how they got that right above, there's that studio right above there.
Yeah.
It's like I have like renewed vigor. I'm like, I can't wait to and this place.
This place is going to be awesome once we get it going.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like these older buildings that are getting like life back in them. That's what it is. It's what I like. Because I always have this like pipe dream of like one day I'm gonna have a big building like this and just fill it with guitars.
Yeah.
So, but that's it looks awesome.
You
I
can
can't
join
wait.
Rick Nielsen, Jim Peterick, all them other guys that got just.
Yeah, I'm the poor guy that's trying to do that though. You know.
Right, yeah.
We got quite a collection, I understand, right?
Yeah, I'm around. And I hope my wife does not hear this podcast. I'm around 50 guitars.
Really?
And believe me, it is like she would kill me.
Right.
But I don't like hide them. You know, like in our old house, I would just, if a new one came in, I'd leave it in a case and I would stack it up.
Right.
And then we moved, and my mother-in-law was like, hey, you got a lot of guitars. You should put them up on display. So I was like, well, you know, and I was like, if I do that, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, people can count them then. And, you know, and when it's in your face, you see it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, all right, forget it. I'll do it. So I did it. And I only hung half of them. And then I was hearing about, you sure got a lot of guitars. We didn't need that many guitars. And I got all these other ones like tucked away. And I was like, oh my God. And then yesterday, speaking of beautiful Joliet, I was going to show you guys, I go into, and I told you I got a guitar problem. You know what I mean? There's people that drink, recreational stuff and all that. And I don't do that. But like, so this guitar here, can you see the sparkle?
Nice Strat.
In this? Yeah, and I'm a Strat guy too. Yeah. I have a lot of different guitars, but like, and then here's the video. Like the video does it. Like, do you see the sparkle on this?
Yeah.
It looks like, do you see that? It's gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I honestly, like, I dreamt about the guitar last night. I Jones, like, there's people that do all these things. You know, there's guys that look at porn, and I'm on reverb. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at this guitar. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And but because of that, like, I'm a guitar musically influenced. I'm not like just stuck here or stuck there, or because like I love guitar guys. You know, like I love all kinds of different guitar, and from like Albert King blues. I mean, like, you know, like when you listen to Albert King play the guitar, you can feel it. You know what I mean? Like you can feel it, and he's not going nuts and shredding and doing all this stuff, but you can feel what he means. And then you got guys like Steve Vai, who is like my growing up hero, who's insane. You know what I mean? Like does everything. So, but
well, speaking of growing up, I understand you have kind of an interesting story about how you got into music. You know,
this is true. I know.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, and I was skinny, and you wouldn't believe it looking at me now, but I was like 120 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
And I wanted to play football because that's the dudes that were getting the chicks. And I was like, I want to play football. Well, really, I wanted a chick. That's what you know what I mean? And my mom was like, no, I'm not going to let you play football. There's concussions and would not let me play football.
Right.
And because of that, right now, I still don't know how to throw a football well. And I have a son that I'm like, I got to learn how to play, like in the next few years, I got to learn how to throw this football. And I love watching it. Can't throw it. So I was like, I got to figure something out. So I got into music, and Def Leppard ended up being my big band. And it was, because remember this is going back to like 87, the Pour Some Sugar on Me video.
Right.
So there was other guys, like Motley Crue was making the cool videos, and I like Crue and I like them all, man. But not Van Halen, but like Def Leppard had that it was them live, and you could see the energy, and that's what sucked me into Def Leppard. And then my mom takes me to she actually had to take me because I was 13, and she goes with me, buys a ticket because she's not going to let me go in, and we got really good tickets.
That's nice of your mom.
Oh, my mom is like great, the best mom in the world. And you know what I mean?
She probably wanted to see Def Leppard too, right?
Yeah. No clue. She had no clue. No, because there was a big age gap for my parents.
Oh,
like,
okay. Right.
Like they had me later in life. So like my dad was born, God rest his soul, was born in the 20s. So he had no clue. For him, he was like, you long hair, you're killing cows. You know, I had all this leather on you, killing cows. You know, like he asked me everything from like what my orientation was to if I was using drugs. You know, like he hated it.
Right.
Which is funny later on when I start playing with Buffett. You know what I mean? Because then all of a sudden he's like, hey. But we go, and because we got tickets later, she got good seats. It was for two of us. So we got like sixth row. You know, it was something really close. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And Phil Collins was ripping a guitar solo. You know, that's when, age of guitar solos.
Right.
And the girl next to me rips the quad, like what you see, rips open her shirt. It's the first time that was not in a magazine that I'm looking at fully developed breasts. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then and that moment, the equation went in my head. Guitar,
hot
play
chick.
equals boobs. And I was like, I need this. And then I walked out of there, and I'm telling you, I think every single day I asked my mom for a guitar. And then my birthday was in December, and I got, it's kind of a joke, but I got the Red Harmony. I went over to what was Lockport Music, but up here in up the street. I don't even know if it's still there, but it was and there was a Red Harmony hanging on the wall, and I was like, I want that Red Harmony. Yeah, I'll take that guitar. And the funny thing is, my mom called it a phase. She says, it's just a phase. It's just a phase.
Oh, yeah.
So now, when we go play and do all these things, I'm like, wow, Mom, it's just a phase. Yeah. I'm just going through a phase. Yeah. It's kind of the joke. But I got that Red Harmony, and then that was it, man. I would play that guitar till, I'm not even kidding. When you hear about till your fingers bled, I played till I couldn't play anymore.
Do you still have it, guitar?
I wish I did.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I started trying to be all like fancy and construct it and paint it and do all this stuff. And it's killing me that I don't have it. I know it was barely playable. You know what I mean? It was like $100, but it would have been nice.
I have an old Kalamazoo it's a white one. Like a straight cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it started there, and then just started upgrading. And then my first really good guitar was, because then I got into Steve I, was the floral Ibanez Gem that I still have hanging on the wall, which blows me away how much it's worth now.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's pretty cool.
So you played in some metal bands then, didn't you?
Yeah. My high school band that actually kind of jumped up was called Passion Play. Okay. And it was actually named after, there was a phrase in a Metallica song, and we named it there. And it wasn't even that heavy. It was kind of like, I don't know, like Skid Row-ish, like that kind of band. Queensryche meets Skid Row. And then, and I just played lead guitar in that band because like that's all I wanted to do was be a lead guitar player.
Right.
And then we got a little bit older, and then I had this band called Voodoo Vibe Tribe. And that was the band that actually started doing some pretty cool things. Like remember that band Trickster way back? Mm-hmm. Do you remember those guys? Like it was Trickster, and I think Lillian Axe, and we actually like opened up for like Enough's Enough and Warrant as they were on their way down. That's what I like to say.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like like the late '90s Warrant or something like that. Right. We opened up for some some big bands. It was cool.
Right.
And that was like the long hair, and that's when I was in shape. So I'd like do the leather pants and let my six pack out, which now is buried in a keg. But,
It's still there.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. I just got to go find it. And then, but that was like the days of shredding. And it was, I mean, it was awesome. Because you're doing, I had a really warped sense of reality as a 17-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Like, I was playing the Riv at 17, which made geometry really hard to do the next day.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. Like, my mom's like, I don't care if you're going to go play on a Wednesday night, but you're getting up for school.
Right.
And I did. I did. And she made me go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think her thing was like, well, he'll be too tired. He won't want to do it anymore. And instead, it just taught me how to stay, work on minimal sleep.
Right.
Right. So, but
doing that nowadays is tough. I know.
Oh, yeah. And I still do, though. I'm actually, that's what I was telling my wife the other day. I'm like, if the day stops when I can't do it, work on this minimal sleep, then you got to start to worry. You know what I mean? Because right now I can still do the overnight drives and stuff like that.
Right.
But I can do that, get home at 3 or 4 and the kids are almost 5. They wake me up at 6 and I can operate.
Yeah.
Where some people can't do that right now. And I'm like, when that day comes, we're in trouble.
Right. Right.
But then what happened was, the grunge scene jumped in.
Right.
And, I did not get on board with the grunge scene because I loved having girls went from wearing mini skirts and the high hair and all that stuff to flannels and jeans and covering these gorgeous, I'm like, what are you doing? How do you want this? And it was depressing. Like the other stuff, like Poison, and I was all partying, all stuff like that. And that's what I was into. I'm like, it's high energy and stuff like that. Then it went to and I still like them, but Soundgarden and Alice in Chains to me was depressing. Mm-hmm. And now I appreciate them more now than I did, when you, in retrospect, you're like, yeah, they're pretty good.
Right.
But at the time I'm like, you're taking this away from me.
Right.
So that's it went away. And then I went to college and I was stuck with the pose. Like, how am I going to meet girls? You know what I mean? Like I don't have this rockin' band anymore. And then it was in the dorm, I grabbed an acoustic guitar for probably the first time. And, cause I was all shredder.
Right.
And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to, so I ended up grabbing an acoustic guitar and, playing Jimmy Buffett and stuff like that. Really, it was honestly for beer money.
Right.
And the reason the band technically is Johnny Russler and the Beach Bum Band was I used to pretend I would set up beer cans behind me and that was the band. That's how. So it was Johnny Russler in the band. You know what I mean? The Beach Bum Band. Yeah. And it was usually I'm a Corona guy. I know it sounds cliche, but I really do like Coronas. You know what I mean? And I would set them up, and that was the Beach Bum Band. So it was kind of a joke. You know what I mean? So and I was basically playing for free beer, and then it kind of started coming together. And some guys that I used to play with, hey, we could get on board. We'll try this.
Where'd you go to school at?
I went to Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Up the street. I really wanted to go to Florida or San Diego.
Yeah.
And the only reason was for the beach.
Right.
And
of course.
And my parents were helping fund college. So they're like, no, you're not going to go. And we had this big standoff. And then
Ray would live at a beach if he could.
Oh,
yeah, I would, yeah.
I know. And it's weird that we're stuck, because I always had people say that to me, well, why did you stay here? But I'm like, well, it's where my, it's where my family, job, everything I need.
Right.
The job that pays for my guitars is actually at. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But then that's how it started. And then we kind of slowly put together the band. And then one of my best friends, his name's Ian. He used to be in the band, Ian Roki. And he jumped in the band. He's like, well, everyone knows who you are. You're already doing it. Keep it that way. Because I was never a big, standout, because I mean, honestly, even right now, I know it's technically Johnny Russell and the Beach Bum Band, but the website I made, beachbumband.com and stuff like that, because I am nothing without these guys. You know what I mean? Right. I am proud. I know. I always say it. I know
it takes a village.
Yeah, but I mean, I am proud to stand with these guys on my stage.
Right.
I'm by far probably the worst musician in the band. You know what I mean? My bass player is a music, and my steel pan keyboard player, they are music majors. They teach music. They do, my steel pan player is a department chair of music at a university.
Wow. Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to him at the show that I saw you guys at, and that's what he said. He's been playing the steel pans for years.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
and they talk in language that I don't know. Mm-hmm. So they're like, it's the 4. And I'm like, I I don't know. Like,
yeah.
And so the only thing I'm grateful for is that Michael Sheehan, who's in the band, the one other guy who sings and plays acoustic in the band, is in the same boat as me. Like I need the letter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
right.
I get that there is music theory. I know it's out there and I really want to learn it one day. But I need to know, like, I need somebody to go like GCD.
Yeah, right.
Not like 4/6/4.
Yeah,
You know, like,
yeah,
what the hell's that mean? What? I don't.
Yeah.
Like I spend money, I don't add. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like so. But that's how it, and then it just started that way. We went from that, and we put the band together, and I met a steel pan player and had him in the band, and then I don't even know how long we were playing, maybe like a year, just barely getting these gigs. And in Joliet up here it was, or Crest, I think it's Joliet side, was Just One More. You guys remember Just One More? It was Theodore and Rayner. It's up there.
Name's familiar.
It used to have half a boat outside.
Okay.
It was a big Buffett bar in Marlene.
Didn't it used to be called something else?
It was
back-
Coyotes, I think, before that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Edifice.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It could've been.
I'm talking back in the 70s.
Yeah, I think it was that, and then Coyotes or something like that, and
yeah.
then Just One More.
Small little place.
Yeah, but they made it a tiki thatched hut and stuff like that. And I give her credit. We played a couple other gigs, but she was the one. Marlene was and Darren were the two owners at the time, and they were the ones that actually would hire us again. You know, so I said, like, we could get the gig, we just had to get hired again.
Yeah,
and so they would hire us again, and we used to do a cabin fever party there for them every single year while they were still in business. And then from there we started doing it, and I got this call. Buffett was playing I think it was still the Tweeter Center or the World. It was either the World or the Tweeter Center.
It's still the world.
Yeah, to me it's still the World. But,
yeah.
and then they asked us if we'd play that side stage thing. And that's when it went from like, because our band practices would consist of like, hey, mixology in the beginning, like who makes the best Bloody Mary or who makes this, and then we go play, and you know what I mean, it was all good. But it went from like, when we got that call, it was the moment where like, hey, you got to be a serious band if you're going to go play before Jimmy Buffett. You got to be serious. And I remember we had some pretty intense practices, and then went and played.
Right.
And that kind of like propelled the Beach Bum Band thing. And then not shortly after that, Buffett was doing the Cheeseburger in Paradise openings, which now most of them are closed, if not all.
Right.
But it was kind of funny because they called us and said, hey, could you do these opening or the one in Downers Grove? And I was like, well, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And that was where they didn't give us a set list. And Jimmy Buffett's got like 200 songs. You know what I mean? So you're like, what the hell is he going to play?
Right.
So we're trying to guess what he was going to play because they wouldn't at all. Like, well, he just calls
Probably Cheeseburger in Paradise.
That was it. I figured it was going to be that. So what I did was, this is like the way I thought is like, from doing those openings, we could go on the side of the stage and I could see that they would rehearse before like their sound check, they'd rehearse their set list. So I'm like, he's going to play stuff, I think, from the set list. And thank God, because almost everything was from his current tour that he played. So I think it was top of mind. Mm-hmm. And he did throw us on, and when we played with him in Omaha, there was one tune that I will never forget, because he was like, do you know, I forgot, it was like grapefruit, juicy fruit. It was the one thing like the entire band didn't know. So we're like, no. But you're on stage, you know what I mean? Because he was just whipping at you. But I remember those practices when you're playing, you know you're going to play with Jimmy Buffett.
So you went all over the country doing this, right?
Yeah, we did.
How many?
We did 5.
Okay.
And I think 5, yeah. And then, I mean, it was like there.
Would they fly you out there? And...
No, that's the best part. And which I said, they paid us $1,000. Didn't matter where it was at.
Yeah.
They paid us $1,000. And then I was like, okay, you know, I'm not going to say no to that, because I'm like, there's people that would actually pay to do this.
Right.
And we're at least going to get $1,000. You know what I mean? Right. So, but I remember, because what made me learn the ukulele was we were on the way to Omaha. And
you would drive?
We piled in the van, and you go, hey, I get a call on my cell phone. And it's like, hey, Jimmy's going to have Warren Buffett join him on stage. Because I know he calls him uncle, but I think they're cousins, or I can't remember which way it was. But and so, you know, he obviously helps him invest and stuff like that. So they are related. I think he calls him Uncle Warren, but they're cousins. But he's like, he's going to play ukulele. They're going to come on stage.
Oh, really?
and he's going to bring them on stage, and they're going to play a ukulele song together. Do you have ukuleles? Well, the true answer was no.
Right.
My answer,
Sure.
because I was so nervous, is like, yeah, we got 4.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't even know why I said there was
What
4. I mean,
size?
I could have said just yes.
Yeah.
And then, but I like got so nervous and I'm like, well, we got 4. Sure, Jimmy, we got 4.
Yeah.
And hung up the phone, and they're like, you got 4 what? I'm like, we got to find Guitar Center right now and get ukuleles.
Yeah.
And then so we
Stop
did.
on the way.
I think we got the one in like Des Moines or like Iowa City or something. Then I'm pulling up chords on the phone to learn how to play ukulele.
Right.
So I learned how to play ukulele in the back of a van before, because I thought I'd have to play. And we get there and we didn't have to play it at all. I just had to hand it over.
Right.
And then I found out later that I was like, I'm surprised he doesn't use his band, but it was cheaper. This is true. It's cheaper to have us come there than it was for his roadies to pull all his gear off the stage.
Right. Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, like, it would cost that more. So, like, that's how we became the band. But that really kind of shot the Beach Bum Band into,
Yeah.
like, in the light of, and this is, at the time, was called Caribbean rock. You know, it wasn't.
Right.
Okay.
And then, so that was it. And then we kind of had, like I said, we did a couple albums, and there was this, we did Amigos Out at Sea, and then we...
No, that was that originals?
Yeah, it's all originals,
Okay.
yeah. And then we did...
Who does the writing?
Mainly me.
Yeah.
There might be 1 or 2 songs that somebody else
Okay.
will do. Now, it's more collective.
Okay.
But back
Right.
then, it was like... It was
Collaboration of everybody now.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, this first album, that we just put out, The Living the Dream, is the first one I've actually had somebody outside of the band come and like write the tunes with us.
Oh, okay.
And I actually, at first, like the first albums, I saw that as like, no, I got to keep in the band. And now it's like, this is awesome.
Right.
So it's crazy because we were trying to get Living the Dream done before we went and played in Key West.
Okay.
So we are like really under the gun, and we have like 20 songs that are just sitting there. So I'm already working on new material, because my goal, I always say goal because I don't know if what happened, is I want to do, like I was telling you guys off the air, that I feel like the Beach Bum Band is a really good live band.
Right.
And we feed off the energy and stuff and stuff like that. So I would definitely want to put out a live album.
Well, there's a lot of bands that have more of the energy and more of the charisma, and everything comes across you know, in recording.
And that's why I think, and like the other thing is, like I was telling you with the rock and roll, there's a lot of great trop rock musicians out there that are really good, great songwriters, but they're just kind of stand there and play guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And or their music's a little bit slower.
Right.
You know, because when you think of beach music, you know, it's all relaxing and stuff like that. And there's not that many that go like nuts. But being raised on Kiss, Def Leppard, and all that stuff, like I bring smoke geysers, you know, if they let me. Because I did a smoke geyser gig where didn't think about a fire alarm. So that didn't go so good. You know what I mean? Like, I know. But, you know, I bring that
It's a good way to lose your audience.
Yeah,
the
big
place
time.
clears out.
And bring lasers. Like, I think that's how it is.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go out there,
a light show. And everything.
you got to go and do it. And I like jams too, you know, and our band's been playing together long enough that we're good. You can have a guy go, you know, my steel pan player, and you can tell when you're playing together long enough when he's not done. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just take it a little farther.
Yeah.
And then with guitar solos, like, you know, like,
just
let it go, you know, stuff like that. So and that's good because you don't get that on an album.
Right.
So that's why I like to make live different. So that's why I was like, hey, we gotta make a live, like put out a live album.
Right.
And we got some older songs that I love that off like Amigos Out at Sea, that half that album we recorded in a basement with not a lot of knowledge. That I was like, now when we play them, I think they sound, you know, so much more updated that I'm like, but I don't want to re-record this first, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, well, let's go ahead and do a live album, put some of those songs on that live album. So the only thing, we had the song that was the big hit was Fat Guy in a Hawaiian Shirt, which was, I actually almost didn't make it. It was my first trop rock-ish or Caribbean rock at the time attempt at writing a song.
Down by the bay, I like to play a 6-string song. Up comes the sun, man, it's looking for fun. I know it won't be long. There's a girl that's so yummy, and she looks at my tummy. And that's when I knew I'm just a fat guy in a Hawaiian shirt. I ain't that great, but I could be worse. If I drink a lot, oh, my head does hurt, 'cause I'm a fat guy.
I was like, oh man, it's just about me gaining weight. And you know what I mean? It was true. It's all it was about me. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we put it together. But now we played it so good, and I still get it requested so much that I'm living the dream. I did the updated version.
Okay.
So that was the only like rehatched thing I did. But it's like that. So that's my goal, is the live album, to bring back some of those, play some of the new ones.
Right.
And then I want to do another studio album at the end of the year. So
you've got a new album out right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's done. It's out.
Yeah, it just came out.
It's available.
That's Living the Dream one, right? So, yeah.
Okay. So that's available for purchase.
Yeah, it's on iTunes, CD Baby,
Awesome.
Amazon, of course, at our shows,
Right.
and stuff like that. So that came out. We did like a Key West release, and then we just did, before the holidays, we just did a CD release party up here. So
how much traveling are you doing now? I mean, you stick around mostly in the Chicago area, or?
For the most part,
Yeah.
but like I'll do it. Like we're playing in Michigan coming up.
Oh, okay.
Which isn't that far, I know, but we'll do Key West, Kentucky. We've been all over. I mean, Minnesota. The hard thing is going out west. I've had people call me to go play like Washington or San Diego, but the hard part is getting a band out there and making it financially feasible. Like I like Texas. There's this gig I wanted to play in Texas so bad, but it fell on the same date as there's this big event in August called Summer Chill that we play here by the Chicago Parrot Head Club, and it's huge. It's a huge, like all these musicians come in and happen to be on the same date. But I was like, oh, I want to break into Texas so bad. Mm-hmm. I've never been to Texas. Like I want to go to Texas, period. Like I want to go just myself. Like, and it didn't, it'd have been tough. It's hard, like just calling a place, being like, hey, you need X amount of money, bring it down. And they're like, what? I don't even know who you are. You know what I mean?
You're
so it's hard. And I'm the one who does the booking for the most part. So, I'm on the border of like, I need somebody, you know what I mean? Like I need an agent,
Right,
you know what I mean? Like that will that'll go and do the cold calls and set it all up.
Right.
So,
it's not cheap.
No, I know. That's what I mean. It's hard. It's hard, and the time that goes into it is hard, because like I'm for the most part do the most of the social media and all that stuff too.
Right.
So,
eventually you get to a point where you got to get help. You just can't do it all yourself.
I'm almost there. Like I'm almost the point. Oh, I'm actually there. So if I have anybody that wants to do it, and you're going to listen to this awesome podcast, hit me up. So
yeah, you never know. You never know.
That's right.
So yeah, that's the goal.
And so this season you'll be recording all your shows then for the.
Yeah, I bought all that recording gear and like I said, I had a nice tutorial from a guy in Vietnam yesterday. And I had no idea the guy was in Vietnam because but I reached out, I was like, hey, do you do this stuff? And he's like, yeah. And I couldn't understand. It was real cheap. And I was like, man, you guys pay like $100 an hour for these kind of things. And I was talking to him like before we got going, he's like, yeah, I'm in Vietnam.
Really?
My meals are $1.25. And obviously the guy is flying solo and living. Right. He's like, I live on the beach and simple man. And I'm like, he just does, and that's what he does. He does YouTube videos and private tutorials over the internet. And yeah, so but he did it. So now I think I'm set up. And like my goal is to release. It'd be cool to do at least. We usually play like 4 or 5 days a week in the summer, and it'd be cool to do like 1 or 2 from the week. If I can get 1 or 2 done from the week and release them just from the show, because I think that's right. Because I know like when you go and you're part of a show and then you can hear it, you can visualize it like, hey man, I was there. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
like, and that's the way that's the goal. So, and then eventually.
What's you said the fat guy in a Hawaiian shirt, and what's another one of your big tunes?
So from that album, there's that one, and then the second album from Sunny Place for Shady People, I was in a time of transition. So I went down. My buddy lived in San Diego, and I was going to move there, and we'd go to San Diego, and there was nobody. Like the place closed at 1, and being from around here in Chicago, things close at 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or never.
And you go to Denny's. You know what I mean? Like, so like, you know, it was like, that's how it was. I'm like, well, what's open, man? He's like, Tijuana. And I'm like, really? So then I'd go with him, and we did this big run in Baja, and we'd go Tijuana, you know, Ensenada, all the way down to Cabo. And so from that one, the two bigger songs are the song Tijuana, which is actually a 100% true story. Well, actually, most of the tunes we write are true story. You know what I mean? Like they come from something.
Sure.
And it's basically all I remember from the trip.
After 12 shots of tequila, my mind got a little murky. Around 4 a.m., took a wrong turn and Albuquerque. Now I'm down here with the locals. They all call me gringo. Why we never left here, I just don't know. Baby, do you wanna stay with me down in T?
It was a bad scene, man. It was there's stuff like not for air that that happened on that trip. And then the next one is this Baja Shakedown, and they both involve vitamin T. That happened a lot of that, you know, the nectar of Mexico, and we actually used to have this thing during this Baja Shakedown called a tequila challenge. And every time we'd yell it, somebody had to bring people on stage and do a shot.
Nice.
And we were playing in this place, and it got ugly. I mean, it got really ugly.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm like, and then my like business mind kicked in. I'm like, I'm seeing liability, you know. So like, you know what I mean? So like, I was like, I need somebody on the side to have a waiver. Like, hey, sign this waiver. You're drinking it, not us. But luckily, nobody. I mean, it was pretty good. Like, we actually had. I told the one jokingly. I said,
I'm a fan of tequila myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting back on the horse.
Yeah.
That trip that I told you about, it was bad. And, you know, like we got down, you know, there's like a little, it sounds cliche, but there was this little cart when you come over the border, and it was a little cart with tequila on it.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I just drank this guy out of tequila where we're into mezcal with the worm.
Oh, okay.
And that's where it started.
Right.
And then we continued on in, and, you know, all kinds of stuff from there. Like I said, nobody wants to hear. And then, at least on the air. And then,
I'm surprised you remember it.
and that's the beginning. But I came back, and I was sick for days.
Yeah,
Days. I had the shakes. It was bad. And you know what I mean? Like, and then I tried to have just the frozen one, like from Fat Tuesdays that you pour out, the tequila, and I like start throwing up immediately.
Right.
I mean, it was bad. And now, after let's see, it was 2009, so 10 years later, I finally have been able to
Stomach some of it,
yeah, like bring it back. And I so like I just did a little tasting, and I think I'm good. Like I'm not going to say I'm going to line up a bunch of shots,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
but like I can have a margarita now and live. You know what I mean? But like before, I would, it was like it would churn and stuff like that. And
yeah, but back in the day too, you pretty much only can afford the cheap stuff. You know, if you get the better stuff, that's a little better with you. You know,
well, that's what I noticed.
Right.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm back. I'm back on that. But really, it sounds weird, but I'm not like, you know, how people have a drink. I'm not really like I love rum. I love whiskey.
Right.
You know, like when it comes to that stuff, like I like it all, and now I just don't abuse it. Like, you know,
right?
I
just want to say, Jose
like,
Cuervo's out there, Casamigos, Hornitos. Johnny's back, man. You know,
exactly.
Send him some samples.
And ironically,
there you go.
Because I know I look like Sammy Hagar. I get the thing. I look like Sammy Hagar, but I did not like the Cabo Wabo tequila.
Yeah,
was not one of my favorites. But I tried because I'm like, well, I look like Sammy. I got to drink like Sammy.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorites. So I think when it comes down to it, I think it's still good old Patron that is the one that does it. You know, I mean, the one that gets me through right now.
Right.
All right. So
There's a lot of them out there, though.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean.
A few.
Well, and now there's so many good ones that I don't even know. I don't know what to sample.
Yeah.
Right.
No, or if I want to still, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just getting, I mean, when I say just getting back, it was like.
When we're done, I'll tell you about some because nobody's paying for any of this commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, and they should.
They should.
So
Yeah.
sponsors,
Everybody's
you
out
need
there.
to come
Yeah.
out there and start doing this. That's what but yeah, no, I mean, that's how that rolls. So that's how that song goes. And now with the new album, Living the Dream, I'm shocked. I mean, when people say they wanted to have it back, I didn't have us do new music. I couldn't believe it because like in July, I released Bone Fishing, this song called Bone Fishing, and it went to #1 on a bunch of different, trop rock, tropical Americana charts.
Oh, really?
Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we released the song Ain't Too Hard to Please. That went to #1.
Wow.
I was like, this is crazy.
That's great.
And then I did, I was thinking, some of that's going to wear off. And then we released, Week in the Keys, because we're headed to Key West. And that's a song I wrote with, like I said, this guy, Al Camp, who like, was telling me about this song as I was packing up one day. And then I was like, dude, like a year later, I'm like, come on over, man. Let's just make this happen. Mm. And we did. And it's like probably one of my favorite songs on the album because of the guitar work. And then,
let's go.
And then, so then we did that one, and that one went #1. And then I got back, and we just released a song called Beach Happy, and that went #1. So it's like everything we put out, I was like, this is awesome.
It's outstanding.
So now I think I'm going to stop releasing singles because I want to just stay where it is.
All right.
So where can they hear on what Trop Rock station or
So there's
internet radio?
There's a guy, and since we're on Chicago, Rock and Roll Chicago, there's a guy out of here that does Tiki Pod, and it's I listen to it on. He's got an app, and I listen to Tiki Pod. Then there's like Radio Trop Rock. And that guy, Eric and Gina do it, and they do it out of Winnebago, and they travel all over
wow.
He's a former vet, and they just do it. They follow it around, right. And so there's like Radio Trop Rock, and then there's like Palm Tree Radio, and there's these other ones that you find,
right?
And I'm mainly internet based, and then like I said, my real good friend, he does podcasts, but Anchor Radio, and he usually plays this at least once on his thing somewhere up from the whole catalog of stuff. Right. And but he's actually a guy who works down at CCQ and Q Rock and all those stations like right down here. Right. He's part of the the radio family. So
you mentioned the guy that you wrote the music with,
Al Camp,
and tell us about some of the other band members.
So, Michael Sheehan is the other guy. He sings and plays guitar, and he's got like, and I always have people ask me like, well, why do you, if it's, Johnny Russell and Beachman, why do you let other people sing? And I think when you got talent in the band, it makes it, he plays acoustic and sings, and he's got a great voice. Tom Rucker, who we call Trucker, because I know nobody knows the story, so Tom, I'm gonna break it out there, but his email was T Rucker, so it looks like Trucker,
yeah.
And that's how we got the name Trucker. So like nobody knows that story. They think everybody asks, like, well, does he drive a truck? Yeah. I mean, what's he? And I'm like, no, he's a band director, but and ironically, he's the band director in our band too. And but he'll sing some tunes, and he's like mega talented. He's not one of those that I told you, like plays everything. And on the new album, actually, at the very end of the song, we got a song called "Party's Over," and there is in the studio. That's what I like about the studio. I get nuts. I'm like, we need trumpets, man. We need a horn. We need like a jazz, like the New Orleans jazz funeral to end the thing. Right. And the guys look at me like, where the F are you going to get that stuff? And then Trucker's like, well, he's got all the horns, man, band director. So he came in with a tuba, he's playing the tuba, the trombone, and Billy, who does, the studio over there, he actually played he did the trombone because he was the one who could do it the best. So we did
we won't be singing the song live.
Yeah, no. I was trying to figure out a way of doing it too, believe me, but I was like, I cannot play a wind instrument to save my life. Yeah. So, but then, so we did that, but he's like, that's how talented he is. But he sings too. He'll sing a couple tunes. And it I feel like when you come see the show, then you're not just stuck with the one singer. And if everybody's got the talent, you
might as well utilize it.
Well, even Jimmy Buffett, you see him, he doesn't sing everything. Yeah. Mac McAnally sings some stuff. The girls sing some stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's good. I think, and
plus it gives you a break.
And then, and then I know, like I told you, I'm a guitar guy first. Like
Right.
you know, like, and it gives me a chance to just enjoy playing guitar.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to bring like multiple guitars, because I'm not like that guy when I do that. Like, if I have some pretty funky looking guitars, you know, some really cool ones and I'll put them out there, and all the time after a show, I'll have somebody come up and be like, "Hey, oh man, I just want to look at it," and I'm okay with touch it, play it.
Right.
They're like, no, and it's okay. And I'm like, no, if you play guitar, I mean, even if you don't, put it on, feel it, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to enjoy music, and go for it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do anything worse besides drop it, you know, than I would do to it. You know what I mean? Because I got some really cool guitars that are old too. Like this cool, like 59 reverse Gibson Explorer. And my old bass player, Terry, was like, "What are you bringing this out for?" And I'm like, because I bought it to play it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just look at it. I want to play it, man. I want to feel this thing.
Right.
So when that gives me a chance to swap up guitars and do stuff like that. So I'm good with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really feel like anybody in the band has like big egos that are worried about like my song or this is that, you know. I mean, we're there.
Right.
We're there to do it and play.
So does everybody sing, or just a few of the people?
I mean, really, I'd say I sing about 60%.
Okay.
Mike does.
But I mean, do all the members of the band sing?
Not our drummer and our conga player, not so much.
Okay.
So how many people are in the band?
6.
6, okay.
I'm actually really tempted. A long time ago, we used to have a little bit of a horn section.
Right.
And I am...
Well, there you go.
Yeah. with this whole... with that whole new album thing, I just actually had a conversation with Trucker yesterday about, like, I think we need a horn section. The problem is, then you got to up your... You know, you got more mouths to feed.
That's right.
Sure. It's hard, you know. It's hard because, like, a lot of the stuff has been replaced by MIDI tracks.
Right.
Right.
So your band's been replaced by MIDI tracks. So it's weird how technology, even though it's awesome, hurts the bands. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I like playing in a band. Like, I can play solo gigs, and I've done them, or like duo, trio gigs, and I'm good with it. But like I like being in a band. Because there's some guys out there, like these Trop Rock guys, that are awesome, and they, you know, 80-90% of their shows are them with MIDI tracks. Right. And they go around and they do it, and they put on great shows. Like they've got that stick or whatever. Yeah. And then every now and then they'll play with the band, where like I'm, you know, I mean, you can't shred and do these cool things on guitar.
Right. We do with backing tracks.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I like a band. I like playing in a band, and you got friendships. They're family now. You know what I mean? That's family to me. So
Exactly.
You know, I love those guys. I mean, you share everything, your goods, your bads, your personals. You know, I mean, they know a ton of stuff about me, you know what I mean? Like, and each other, you know, where we're at in life, you know, how we're feeling. And
so did we get through everybody in the band?
Oh, so that's Trucker. And then my percussion player is Joe, and he is the guy, Joe McGee, and McKee, I mean, and he has been the guy in the band with me the entire time.
Wow.
So awesome. He has never had a hiatus. He's never, you know, he's been the percussion player. He's solid as a rock. And I would never in a million years, like, I've had other people ask me to take his spot, you know, like the other percussion people, or, you know, just like, hey man, this girl plays congas and that'd be awesome. And I'm like, no, that's Joe, man. He's solid. He is my guy. You know what I mean? Like, he has been in the band the entire time. And I like, great. You know what I mean? And that nothing's going to change there. And then our drummer, Jeff Hatzer, and he's out of Streeter. He's down in Streeter, Illinois. So he was, no matter what the show is, he's got a ride, man. He is, unless it's down there, he's got a cruise. But he was in the band. He started in the band.
He's down in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where you at?
Pontiac.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, we're playing Pontiac.
I am.
July 16th.
Really?
Yeah.
In the pavilion?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I just booked that, and I'm like, so July 16th we'll be down there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I'll have the smoke geysers. Don't worry. I really will. And then, but then he's down there, and so he was in the band. He was on the first album. Then he had a hiatus because of work and stuff like that. And then he got back in the band. And I don't have, like, that's the other thing. Guys who've left the band, with the exception of like one person, there's been no bad blood, you know.
Right.
I'm a very peaceful guy about that.
That's great.
And then, so like when he came back to play, I was like, absolutely, man. You know what I mean? Sure. Come back in. It was just like picking up from where you left off. And then my steel pan keyboard player, Mark Smith, and he's like the newest member in the band, but when I say newest, it's not that, it's 6 years or so. I'm trying to think of where it's at, you know what I mean? And he's a man of very few words, but very direct, but he is just another musical, like him and Tom are like musical geniuses, he goes from playing keys on a song and then jumps over his playing steel pan and then goes, goes up and back and very like, melodic on what he's choosing. And cause he's got that, like I said, that musical brain, he doesn't just, he can go, man. It's awesome. And these guys are like I said, it's the best band. I've had a lot of configurations of the band in the past. Because honestly, we've been together since 2001, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like you're going on almost 20 years. And
that's right.
So you have different guys come and go and stuff like that. And this band right now is just the most solid band.
It's great.
So what's your ratio to cover stuff to original stuff?
Well, in the beginning it was 50-50.
Yeah.
And then there was this lull, like to play at fests and stuff like that. They don't want to hear your
original stuff.
They don't want to hear it. Right. So then I kind of went down to like 70-30.
Yeah.
And now with the resurgence of like, hey, we want new music. Right. It's more like going towards 50-50 or 40-60. Because bottom line is it's cool to do your originals and get them in there and get them out there. But when you're playing a big fest, an event,
right? You have to.
It's people
pleasing people, right?
They want to hear what they want to hear stuff they know,
right?
And I'm okay with doing that. You know what I mean? Like, because we kind of do our versions of songs, like our Freebird, which started off as a joke. People would yell Freebird, and we started doing it reggae. And then, like, did you see that when you were there? Did you see the Freebird? Yeah. So then at the end, and when we were playing it, this is how it happened. I was like, what the hell do you do? How do you end this? Because like we did it as a joke. The guy yelled Freebird, and I was like, well, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And then I just like cranked up the distortion and started shredding at the end. And then we went back and went, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to do that again, so, and, so like, it's stuff like that. So if we're doing it, it's not like the album version, because I think you can kick on. If you really wanted to hear the album version, you can sit in your car and turn on the radio.
Right.
So I want to do like our version, like Bob Marley, we do Stir It Up. It's a little quicker and got more steel pans and, more stuff like that. So I kind of do, if it's going to be cover, it's going to be our version of the cover. So
similar but different.
Yeah, exactly. It's enough where it's like not the album, but people will be like, it's awesome.
Yeah, they recognize the tune, but
And we throw it all over the place too. It's usually this starts off with the one way and then it'll go all different. I have a set list made, but it hardly ever do we ever stay on the set list. You know what I mean? So like, which is another thing that the guys are good with. Like I'll turn around and be like, hey, we got to play some Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And we'll start playing and everybody jumps in and they're like, go, and they're like, all right, let's do it. So it can go from that one side to this side. And I think that's what makes it fun.
You got to feel out the crowd too.
Yeah. That's what makes it fun. Actually,
like I saw on your Facebook page and on your website and stuff that you're not a Jimmy Buffett cover band.
No.
People come to expect that. You're going to get some Jimmy, but you're going to get other things too.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't, it sounds weird, but I actually had the Margaritaville debate. I don't hate the song. Like there's these guys that don't refuse to play it. I will not play it, and that's Jimmy Buffett's song. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, play it. But if I didn't hear that song, I wouldn't be standing up here doing all these things. So I don't really mind. When you're live, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like I said,
you want to please the crowd.
Yeah.
If it pleases the crowd, then you got to do it.
And you play off the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like one of our best sets when we were playing in Key West, we're playing at Schooner Wharf, and we played. Oh man, I'm trying to think 1, 2, 3. It was like it was awesome. But we went down to Meeting the Minds and we played 2 shows the first day, 2 shows the second day, and then 1 show on Sunday. And by that point, everybody's tired.
Sure.
And I didn't make a set list. And the guys are like, what? And I'm like, I'm just going to figure it out. And probably the best set we did was I had this crowd.
Impromptu.
And I picked out, as we're playing, I'd think of the next 3. That's usually how the next 3 is how I'm doing. I'm like, all right, the next 3, let's do the next 3. And then my drummer, Jeff, was like, that's the best set we've ever played, man. That was the best show. He's like, quit writing set lists.
Yeah.
And then I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, well, I could. And then I'm like, no. Because I want, when you got these big gigs, you want to turn around and be like, hey,
yeah.
Which one next? But when you're at Schooner Wharf in Key West and having all these drinks. And
is that where you usually play when you go down there all the time?
Yeah, we do Schooner Wharf, Margaritaville, And then they have the Parrot Heads in Paradise has their Meeting of the Minds, and they have a stage set up at the Casa Marina. They used to do a street fest like on Duval Street and play one of those. So, but it's grueling, but it's fun. You know what I mean? Like when you're done, you're like, "Ooh, glad that's over." But like, you kick back and go, "Man, that was a great time." You know, we're still talking about it. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, Schooner's a great place. I like that one. Yeah. So I know it's you're saying it's of course it's winter now. Things are a little bit slower, but you guys are still out playing. Where's some places you're going to be in the near future?
January 17th, we're playing at Palos, the Palos Recreation. The Village of Palos is putting on a cabin fever party. Mm-hmm. So we're playing there. And then the 18th, we're playing up at Gusto's in Crest Hill. And one of our fellow Trop Rock buddies from Michigan, who's a big percussion guy, is going to come out and sit in just for a guest sit in on that one. His name's Quentin. And then the 25th is the big out in St. Joseph, Michigan. Yeah. At the Silver Beach Motel, the Parrot Heads in Michiana have this whole weekend planned out of just music. And we're playing, there's this, you got to check her out too. Her name's Erica Sunshine Lee. And she's kind of like country, but does some beachy songs. And she's like badass country chick. You know what I mean? So, and she's playing, so we're going to do a couple tunes together too. Before us, but it's like the whole thing is super cool because they do a hotel crawl. Okay. So they open up, like everybody decorates their hotel rooms, and then they do like a hotel crawl, and you get drinks. And I mean, I actually have a song written about it that I gotta finish.
Wow!
Because it's so cool.
Like
I didn't even know I have the song either that I've done it, but it was like, I mean, it's so cool that they do it because it's freezing. You know, it's like January, and half the time, I mean, like usually the lake is frozen over. You know what I mean? Sure. So like, you can't do all these other things, so you do that. You know, they do this hotel crawl, and it's really because you can't, like a pub crawl's freezing. Right. So you do that, and and it's a really good time. And then we're playing at just like 2 blocks from the hotel is a place called Czars, and so they have the whole stage and all that, and we're gonna be rocking out there. And then
that's cool. That's awesome.
February for a nice lovers weekend. We're playing in February it's up in Lake Geneva, the Lake Lawn Resort.
Oh, sure.
Have a whole weekend planned up there. So if
Delavan.
Yeah, Lake Delavan. So if you want to get away.
So where can we find a list of all these places?
I got on beachbumband.com. Is our website. Okay. And then our Facebook page which is the Beach Bum Band on Facebook, and then we have Beach Bum Band on Instagram, is the ones that, social media wise that I keep updating. That's got more of the pictures and stuff. Right. The beachbumband.com is more all business.
Right. But it's got a list of
but it's got it right there. Yeah. So, cool. So that's that.
Very good.
Well, very good. Well, I just want to thank you for coming out on this chilly weekend.
Thanks for having me. Anytime I can talk about guitars and stuff like that, and being in the Rock and Roll Museum, I mean, this is awesome. Yeah. So I thank you for having me out.
Well, thanks for coming out, and we'll see you out and about somewhere.
And don't forget, sponsor
this
podcast.
Tequila sponsors.
There we go.
Sponsor this podcast.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, that was Johnny Russler. I tell you, we talked about everything. We got on a tequila kick there for a while.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I had a little tequila now. I mean, we talked about it so much. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love a good tequila.
Oh, yeah, tequila's good for the soul.
It is good for the soul and whatever ails you.
It's good for something. I don't know what it's good for. The soul and your heart. I don't know if it's good for your heart. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be.
They say it's good for your probiotic system, though.
Well,
it's tequila.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. See, everything's good for something.
That's right.
So, well, Johnny's a busy guy, boy. He's got a unique music there. So that Trop Rock. Them guys are very, very busy. They're playing all over the place. I mean, really, they played with Jimmy Buffett. They get down to Key West regularly, and
keep them busy. Keep them busy, definitely.
Which is a good thing, and even in the winter.
Yep.
So
be sure and stick with us here, and maybe we'll bring you some more beach music, some more tropical stuff,
some warming music, something to keep you warm.
That's right.
The cold winter night.
That's right. So,
and don't forget to catch us every Monday on the Road to Rock Radio. Every Monday, 6:00, featuring one of our podcasts. Find them at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66 website, Facebook page. And keep listening, keep checking out our podcast. Give us some reviews and let us know how you feel.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Talk soon.
Chicago, rock and roll.